was a warm summer evening on June 21, 1982, when the bells of London rang out in celebration. At St. Mary's Hospital in Paddington, a new chapter of British royal history was born. Prince William Arthur Philip Louis, as the firstborn son of Prince Charles and Princess Diana, William entered the world under a global spotlight. The moment was more than just a royal birth. It was a moment of hope for a monarchy ready to embrace a new era. The young prince, wrapped in a white blanket and cradled gently in Diana's arms, was introduced to the world on the hospital steps. Flash bulbs exploded, crowds cheered. The weight of centuries of tradition seemed to hang gently on his tiny shoulders. He was second in line to the throne, but more than that, he was the bridge between past and future, monarchy and modernity. Raised at Kensington Palace and Highgrove House, William's earliest days were filled with the affections of his doting mother and the guiding hands of royal nannies. Yet, unlike generations before him, William's childhood was different. Diana, determined to give her children a taste of normal life, took William to theme parks, McDonald's, and even bus rides. She wanted her son to understand the world beyond palace walls. From the very beginning, William was both a royal and a boy of the people. It was a delicate balance that would define his life. Growing up in the corridors of Kensington Palace, Prince William's early years were anything but ordinary. Despite the grandeur and formality of royal life, Diana was intent on crafting a warm, nurturing environment for her sons. The nursery was filled with laughter, storybooks, and stuffed animals, rather than the stiff traditions of the crown. William's bond with his younger brother, Harry, grew stronger each day. They were more than brothers. They were adventurers, conspirators, and best friends. Whether racing through the palace gardens or splashing in the pool, they shared a childhood of joy and mischief. But palace life had its rules. There were protocol lessons, etiquette classes, and public appearances. William learned early how to wave, smile, and maintain composure under pressure. Behind the scenes, Diana often reminded him, "You're going to be king one day, darling, but you can still be yourself." William began his formal education at Wetherby School, where he was known simply as William Wales. Teachers described him as kind, curious, and humble. His classmates saw him not as royalty, but as a teammate, someone who laughed easily and worked hard. Even at a young age, William showed signs of a steady character. He was quiet but confident, observant yet approachable. Diana once told a friend, "He has an old soul." Diana was more than a princess. She was the beating heart of her children's world. Her love for William was fierce, unconditional, and protective. She understood that her sons, though destined for duty, needed a mother who made them feel safe and seen. She broke royal convention by hugging them in public, taking them on school runs, and insisting they visit shelters and hospitals with her. William grew up watching his mother hold the hands of AIDS patients and comfort the homeless. From her, he learned empathy. Diana shared her world with William. She spoke openly with him about her struggles and about love, kindness, and courage. William, in turn, became her confidant, a steady presence in her often chaotic life. Their bond deepened as Diana's marriage with Charles strained. William became protective of her, often shielding Harry from the noise. He once slipped tissues under the bathroom door when he heard his mother crying. Through Diana, William saw the human side of royalty. She wasn't perfect, but she was genuine. And in her vulnerability, William discovered his own strength. August 31st, 1997, a date etched in the hearts of millions. When news broke that Princess Diana had died in a car crash in Paris, the world fell silent. But nowhere was the grief heavier than in the hearts of her sons. William was only 15. He and Harry were staying at Balmoral Castle with the royal family when they heard. Their worlds shattered in an instant. The mother who had danced with them in the kitchen, walked them to school, and whispered bedtime stories was gone. The days that followed were a blur of sorrow and ceremony. On the day of her funeral, the image of William walking behind her coffin alongside his brother, father, grandfather, and uncle became one of the most iconic and heartbreaking images in royal history. For William, the pain was deep and private. He rarely spoke of it, but in that moment, something in him changed. He understood loss. He understood responsibility. And though the world mourned a princess, William mourned his mum. In the aftermath of Diana's death, William was thrust even more deeply into the public eye. Every move he made was scrutinized. The media called him the People's Prince, and the nation placed hopes on his shoulders. He returned to Eton College, determined to maintain his privacy and dignity. His time at Eton was one of both normalcy and growth. He excelled in geography, history, and sports. He made close friends who respected his wish to be treated as just Wills. Despite the media frenzy, William remained composed. He was photographed constantly, at polo matches, rugby games, and during school breaks. But unlike many royal teens before him, William didn't rebel. He stayed grounded. In private, he grieved quietly. He missed his mother, but he also began to reflect on her legacy and what kind of man he wanted to become. He started volunteering, meeting with charities, and attending royal events with his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. The Queen began mentoring him more closely, preparing him slowly for the life ahead. After Eton, William took a gap year, a decision supported by his family. He traveled to Chile with Raleigh International, building shelter, teaching English, and living without royal luxuries. It was a formative experience. For the first time, William saw the world from the ground level. He lived with volunteers, trekked through mountains, and found purpose in service. In 2001, William enrolled at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland, studying art history before switching to geography. It was here that his life would change forever. The world expected headlines about parties and scandals. Instead, William chose a quieter life. He studied, played sports, and formed close friendships. And then he met Kate Middleton. After graduating, William followed a centuries-old royal tradition by joining the military. He attended the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, undergoing intense training. He later served in the Royal Air Force and trained as a search and rescue pilot. His fellow soldiers respected him. He didn't ask for special treatment. He worked hard, rose early, and completed missions like everyone else. In the air, William felt free. He loved the structure, the teamwork, and the ability to make a real difference. During his service, he was stationed in Wales, flying missions to rescue stranded hikers, shipwrecked sailors, and injured civilians. He once described it as one of the most rewarding jobs of my life. Through it all, Kate stood by him. Kate Middleton was not a royal, but she had a regal presence. The daughter of self-made entrepreneurs, she had grown up with values of hard work and humility. She and William met at St. Andrews, becoming friends before romance blossomed. Their relationship, though intensely scrutinized, was built on shared values, laughter, and deep respect. They dated for years, weathering breakups and reunions. The media followed their every move, dubbing her Weighty Katie. In 2010, during a trip to Kenya, William proposed with Diana's sapphire engagement ring. "It felt right to include my mother in this," he said. Kate said yes, and the world celebrated. On April 29, 2011, over 2 billion people tuned in to watch Prince William marry Catherine Middleton at Westminster Abbey. The event was a spectacle of history, tradition, and love. Kate walked down the aisle in a lace gown by Sarah Burton, while William stood in his Irish Guards uniform, looking every bit the future king. As they exchanged vows, the nation rejoiced. The world saw less of the children at first, but when they did appear, be it clapping for NHS workers or baking with their mum, they were always natural and joyful. William had found balance. He was a prince, a husband, a father, and thriving in all roles. As his royal role expanded, William took on more public duties. He championed mental health awareness, homelessness, conservation, and support for veterans. He launched the Earthshot Prize, a global initiative to tackle climate change and protect the planet. Whether speaking at the United Nations or comforting a grieving family, William carried himself with dignity and authenticity. He was no longer just Diana's son or the Queen's grandson. He was a man of action. William and Harry's bond, once unbreakable, faced strain in recent years. Differing views on royal duties, media pressures, and personal paths led to a much-publicized rift. Harry's move to the U.S. and his candid interviews caused global headlines. William remained silent publicly but deeply affected. Still, their shared love for their mother remains a link, and with time, many hope their bond will heal. With the passing of Queen Elizabeth II and the ascension of King Charles III, Prince William now stands next in line. As the Prince of Wales, he carries centuries of history and the hopes of a new generation. He and Kate represent a monarchy evolving, one that listens, learns, and leads with heart. From the boy who waves shyly on the hospital steps to the man preparing to wear the crown, William's journey has been shaped by love, loss, duty, and destiny. And the story isn't over yet. Because Prince William isn't just born of royalty, he is becoming it. Don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with fellow royal fans, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories like this. Your support helps us keep telling the stories that matter.